Oh, by the way, Dave, you've got two there. You've got
I forget them before that. We had others. I should film the four hotels.
High up in the education department.
Then we end up.
Yeah.
Take my glasses off. Hello, everybody.
Such an actor.
She and her family lined the streets from Watson's Bay, where some prisoners of war had flown in on seaplanes, and they put them in double-decker buses and they paraded them through Sydney, and the welcome was just extraordinary.
Father's big brother,
Yeah.
John Sachs,
Yeah.
John Fritz Sachs, was in Greece, captured by the Germans twice, escaped twice. Ended up getting back to Alexandria, and that would have been. He said, this person couldn't have been your father. I said, no, you're talking about my uncle, who I was named after. She said, do you know what happened to him? And I said, well, the story goes he was captured by the Japanese and ceremonially beheaded. But I don't believe the bastards. And she said, well, that is closer to the truth.
Yeah.
Why do I come? Well, I formed the bloody thing.
No show without punch, is there?
It's to remember.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
It's to carry on the John O'Neill spirit and tradition.
Yeah.
And also the people like your father.
Yeah.
And the mateship of the men.
Ah, that's another point. As the ranks dwindle, the RSL is saying, well, that's the end of that battalion, and they don't march in the ANZAC parade. Is that? I suppose that's fine by you, is it? Or
I think it's bloody disgraceful.
right? Yeah. So do I. I think.
You've got to look around at the people that are involved in it, the association.
Yeah.
The spirit is quite remarkable, really.
Very encouraging, isn't it? The numbers that are still out there and looking at
it is, and it
probably
makes
greater today than we've seen in a long time.
And it makes you realise that if you, as long as you have an Anzac Day march, even if there aren't veterans in it, it makes people remember and not forget, which is what, isn't it? Lest we forget. It says, why do you come? So you tell me, why you come to the line?
I'm the daughter of a career Navy man.
Yeah.
Anzac Day is endemic, has been in my life since I was born. Okay.
So is it not someone in this particular battalion then, or okay? So you just come because in his memory, or for all those?
Well, his best friend was a member of the 2nd 15. They were neighbours, and Dad used to accompany him to the reunion. So they were best mates. My father was the first associate member of the 2nd 15 Regiment.
As long as there's one vet who wants to march, I don't care if the whole of Sydney marches behind him, he should be allowed to march behind his banner, and not the outsiders go down the back.
No.
I don't agree with that. March under his banner.
I think that descendants should be allowed to march and represent because it's a day of remembrance.
Exactly.
Right? But so whether they've fallen in battle, or they've fallen later, or they've died of natural causes, it's still a day of remembrance of people who served their country.
If it's not behind his banner, do you think he would have liked you to march?
He would have liked us to make up our own mind what we'd like to do.
Yeah. Even if the last veteran's gone.
If the descendants didn't march, you wouldn't have the Anzac Day march that it is today.
No, it would just be different.
And even today, more and more younger children in primary schools are asking questions about Anzac Day. So it will continue. It'll continue on for decades.
That's a very good point.
We're looking for 7
Patron Rolly Richards, and we're privileged to have with us other veterans today, Gordon Butler and Jack Morris, other widows, June Croston and Penny Windia. Lots of apologies. Norm Jefferson had hoped to be here but was selling cattle yesterday and couldn't be in two places at once. I rang him last Sunday. I don't know how old he is, but he must be about 90. And his son said, "You'll have to wait for a couple of hours. He's out driving the tractor." So please make the most of the opportunity you have to catch up with old friends and to learn from new ones. Next, I'd like to remember those who have died in the last year. Heather Butler, Lloyd Carl, Paul Campbell, Grace Daly, Ian Kedwood, Hugh Moore, Bill Norman, Thomas Scott and Jack Wilson. This gathering, and I'll invite Robert Rowie to say grace.
May peace enter the hearts of all present who share the joy of this day. For the treasured friendship of those gathered here, we ask your blessing, Lord. For the special memories and the oneness of heart that bring us together, we ask your blessing, Lord. For those who have prepared this meal and for the food we are about to enjoy, we ask your blessing, Lord. Amen.
Next, John Sachs.
Charge your glasses. The Queen of Australia. The Queen of Australia.
Ken Morris of the Queensland Morris clan, son of Sonny Morris, not to be confused with the rowdy group at the door, which is the New South Wales group of Jack Morris. So it's a pleasure to invite Ken Morris, the son of Bombardier Sonny Morris, 30 Battery, to propose the toast to the regiment.
Thank you, David, for the opportunity of being able to propose the toast to the regiment. And only last week I was talking to my dad. I said, I read a book, and I said, for the life of me, the name of the book escapes me, but I said it was from a guy from the 2nd 30th, one of their officers. And he said they asked the 2nd 15th, could they please give them a little bit of respite one night, because they'd been very much engaged in battle. And the 2nd 15th obliged, most handsomely apparently. And I said to Dad, do you remember it? He said, probably the Battle of Bar Tuanon. You know, I said to him, this guy that wrote this book was so taken back with the efficiency and professionalism of the 2nd 15th. And he said, well, he said, I can quote you one instance of efficiency. He said, Don McGuinness laying the gun, he said, of a 25-pounder that has a range of some 3 miles. He said, Don had 1 on the target, 9 in the air, and 1 in the breech. So I guess this is the sort of efficiency that this particular officer was talking about. Of course, later on, we all know of the internment of the fellows in prisoner of war camps. That's where the mateship formed back in Holsworthy would have come to the fore, because these guys relied on one another from day to day for their very, very survival. But I used to just look at the body language of the veterans, and you could tell by that and the look in their eyes that these guys had formed friendships that I don't believe could ever be formed
in civilian life. But to me, the real 2nd 15th is the men that wore those uniforms and operated that equipment. That's what the regiment means to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you to please charge your glasses and be upstanding and drink a toast to the 2nd 15th.
2nd 15th.
To regiment.
Thank you, Dave.
David Croston is the son of Sergeant Alan Croston, and it's my pleasure to invite David to propose the toast to the ladies.
It's lovely, mate. Those special people, the ladies of the regiment.
On this occasion, Robin Winman, daughter of Bill Dykes, has come down from Rockhampton. So welcome, Robin. Are there any others in the room who should be acknowledged as visitors, who've not been here before? Well, Robin, this is very special for you. Toast to the visitors. Welcome. The next toast is to be offered by Cheryl McCarthy. Cheryl's grandfather was Gunner Reg Hickey in 29 Battery, and her grand uncle was Arthur Hickey in the same battery. Today we have with us the veterans who I named earlier.
Well, it's truly honoured to be asked today to make this speech by David. And I hope you don't mind me mentioning my grandfather, because he was, part of the regiment, and he's the one I want to talk about today. So I'm going to read a little bit, if you don't mind, from his eulogy, which tells his story. Reg Hickey was born in working class Forest Lodge, Sydney. He was very ill as a baby, and the doctors had given up on him. He was administered an old remedy by one of his neighbours, and obviously got better. He left school at the age of 12 and started to work on a milk cart, delivering milk barefooted every morning at 4 o'clock. He worked hard all his life. When war appeared, likely in Japan, he volunteered. He joined up to fight them over there rather than on our own soil. This was typical of the unsung heroism of an ordinary bloke signing up to do his bit. Reg went to Malaya with the 2nd 15th Regiment. The Aussies fought a valiant rearguard against the Japanese, falling back on Singapore, and Reg was captured on surrender with the Allies and imprisoned in Changi. He was sent to work on the infamous Burma Railway, and he suffered terribly from tropical ulcers. He lost one leg and almost another. After liberation, Reg was told on the way home that his young wife had died. Then he had to fight to regain custody of his daughter, which was my mother. Reg was an inspiration to all those who knew him. Many times his optimistic and positive approach to life made others realise how insignificant their petty concerns were, and inspired them to just get on with it. He will live inside those fortunate enough to have known him. I want to say how much ANZAC Day means to me and how very dear it is to my heart, and I would love Reg to know that I'm here today doing this. Thank you. I'd like to toast to the veterans. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to hear stories from the heart.
Honorary Life Patron Rowley, President David, veterans, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honour to be asked to propose the toast to departed comrades. My name is Wayne Kedwood, the son of the late Leo Kedwood and nephew of the late Bert Tate, DCM, both members of the 2nd 15th and both departed comrades. Dad passed away in December 2007 at the age of 92. He was fortunate to have lived a long life. Bert, or Bertie, the husband of my father's older sister Gladys, was lost at sea in September 1944 on the infamous Raki Maru, which was torpedoed by the American submarine. He was 38 years old. We must never forget the great suffering endured by the members of the 2nd 15th and of other units of the ill-fated 8th Division, and of the ultimate sacrifice paid by so many who served their country. For many, particularly former POWs, that suffering and sacrifice continued long after the war ended. We ask, however, that you not be sad by their passing, but remember our departed comrades with pride for all they did to help ensure Australia became the great country that it is. Their courage, personal deprivation, aid to fellow POWs and bravery while enduring appalling conditions and inhumane treatment which cost so many their lives during the war and cut short the lives of so many more afterwards, must stand as an inspiration to us all. This is why we in the room are so proud to be associated with the 2nd 15th. It is heartwarming to see the great resurgence in patriotism, particularly of young Australians, in the deeds of all who have served Australia in both war and peacetime. So great is that patriotism that a ballot will be held for places at the Anzac Day ceremony to be held at Anzac Cove in Turkey in 2015. It is this patriotism that will ensure the deeds of all who served Australia and who have since passed on will never be forgotten. They shall not grow old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please charge your glasses as we toast our departed comrades.
Who maybe is one of your favourite comrades or one of your favourite mates in the division? Rhodes, R-O-H-O-D-E-S. Oh, there you go. Across harbour. And was he was with you all the time?
Yes. Every year. That's why we come down here for Pinky and Dad.
Yep, that's why we brought him down here. And plus...
From Coffs Harbour?
No, Ballina.
Oh, Ballina, even further.
Sorry, Ballina, yeah. Pinky and Dad met here every year. Yeah. We'd have the dinner. Yeah. We used to take him back to the club.
Yeah.
And
this is up until
last year. He wasn't here last year, he passed away. And the two of them had an afternoon after the dinner together, and then they went home. Yeah.
We're very glad you're here. Hey guys.
Thanks for having us again this year, guys. We're the Australian Army Cadet Band Sydney. We're based out in Holsworthy Army Barracks. So I'm going to play a few songs for you today. We might start with the next tune, Our Director, and then we'll play a drums call on the drums. Bet and drums, ready?
was fit enough to march.
Yeah.
And my best mate's daughter said, "Oh, look, I'd like to march," you know.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I say yes? I'd love it to march. I'd love you to march.
Yeah.
So you represent my mate.
See, I always wondered.
Yeah, I think they didn't like the blokes sort of bringing little kids up, and you know they didn't know anything about it, and you know they were dancing and prancing and whatnot. But an adult, you know, or
that's not a problem.
a youth,
And you'd like to see it go on.
that's different. Yeah.
So I should ask you about gaiters.
About what?
Gaiters.
Oh yeah, gators.
I think are they called well?
You made putt.
Put that near him, yeah, because otherwise. What they're called something else. Putties. Okay. What are putties?
Putties is like a large. I describe it as a khaki bandage.
Oh, okay.
About that wide.
Yeah. Are they like gaiters?
Well, the gaiters usually a thing like a shin pad that you.
Yep.
But a putty you actually wind. You wind up like a bandage. We had short putties if you had shorts on, and they just stopped muck getting into your boots.
Okay.
But if you had long pants, the putties, short pants, the putties came right up to here. Because the simple people didn't know what a putty was, but not many did.
Oh, we know now.
Yeah.
Going to go on YouTube.
Is that right?
Yeah, so everyone will know.
All right, yeah.
Today, are there any characters that were in there that you remember in the second 15 or that stand out?
Oh, yes, I do. We were in a rock fall in the mine.
Yeah.
And nearly had his leg cut off when some rocks fell in the mine. But
what was his name?
Hughes.
First name?
Bill.
Oh, okay.
Well, his name was Lawrence Gwynn Johnson Hughes.
Oh, okay.
But we called him Billy because of Billy Hughes, you know, the politician.
Oh, yeah, Billy Hughes, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, so that's how he was called. But he was the most generous fellow.
Okay.
Because on one occasion he was working on a night shift and I was working on a day shift. And we only used to meet occasionally in the morning when I was going to work. And one morning he lined up and he had a bit of a crumpled package wrapped up in a bit of old Japanese newspaper. And he handed it to me and he said, "Here, Oigle, this is for you." That was my nickname, Oigle. And I opened it up and there was half a rice ball in the middle.
That's amazing.
And he said, "Oh, Big Ears," that's a Japanese Christian worker, "Big Ears gave it to me." And I went to break it in half and give him half. He said, "No, mate, I've had my half, I couldn't wait."
Oh, gee.
And he could have eaten the whole lot.
Oh, yeah. But he didn't.
He was starving to death like we were. And yet he chose to bring half a rice ball home and refused when I offered him.
Really something.
Dysfunction. So thank you, gentlemen, very much. Each year we talk about marching and when we should march and when we should not march in respect of our veterans. This year, as usual, the 2nd 15th contingent marched behind our veterans, some in the Land Rover ahead and some in a wheelchair. While ever there are veterans of the 2nd 15th participating in the Sydney ANZAC Day March, we will march as a contingent with them. So enjoy your afternoon. Thank you very much and look forward to seeing you next year.
More?